Seeing the success of gold throughout history is a very bullish indicator for Bitcoin because if you're bullish gold and you understand why, those five monetary properties, it's impossible not to be bullish Bitcoin because it's superior across all five. Further, as we saw in the 20th century, we had this ideological struggle between Soviet Russia and the United States, right? So it was socialism versus capitalism. Does the state owning the means and ends of all production create a utopia, or does individual market actors deciding what's best for them, is that a better system? So Soviet took this stance that they're going to control everything. In the US, we take the stance we're going to let market participants control everything except money. We never let go of the control of money. And as we saw, the 20th century clearly demonstrated that socialism does not work because it has these imposed rules, and there's a cost to maintaining those rules. You have to enforce them. You have to constantly get people to comply. So like towards the end of the Soviet Union, 40% of the people employed were informants, right? They were government informants trying to tell on people that were breaking the rules. It was illegal to be sad because it's a utopia, right? So it has these crazy results. Hundreds of millions of people were murdered, starvation. It was really bad outcome, right? So I think the argument here in the US is that we saw capitalism outcompete socialism. And now we're just going to see monetary capitalism outcompete monetary socialism. Because the only shortcoming of gold, the only reason we're not on a gold standard is because it's confiscatable. Right. Because it can be centralized and controlled, and they can prevent you from having it. And in fact, the government did that. In the 1930s, we had Executive Order 6102, which outlawed private ownership of gold under the threat of imprisonment or fine, up to 10 years in prison or a $200,000 fine, inflation adjusted. Right. So, I think Bitcoin is just this unstoppable free market capitalist technology. The biggest threat to Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, is just black swan events. So a black swan is a true unknown, right? Anything can happen. So it is a high risk investment. I'm not saying it's 100% certainty, but it's hard to find a coherent argument against it, given its track record so far.